Please like my videos, please subscribe to my channel, and please press the bell icon so that you get to know when my latest video has come. And to learn more and to find a video relevant to you, please do check out my videos list.
Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. We often get scared when Rahu gets placed with other planets, and we worry whether the manipulative attributes or the secretive attributes or the going astray attributes of Rahu will rub off on the planet that it is placed with. If it's placed, for example, in a Guru Chandal dosha with Jupiter, or it goes into an Angakaraka dosh with Mars, or it eclipses the luminaries like Sun and Moon. And we also get worried when Rahu gets placed in a certain house. But what do the shlokas tell us? The shlokas tell us that Rahu is like Saturn, and so in a way Rahu is reflecting the energies of Saturn. But Saturn is not a planet of hunger or greed. Saturn is a planet of being more happy and more content with what we have and wanting stability in the same thing. Rahu, on the other hand, is greed, is hunger, is aspiration, huge hunger, huge greed and huge aspirations. And so Rahu is also the karma that we have in our lives, in this life. And so wherever Ketu is placed, it is about the karma or the actions or deeds which we have already done. Ketu is the dhwaja which we have already put, the flag that we have already hoisted on certain areas of our life earlier. And so where Rahu is placed is the area of life that we need to conquer, we need to learn, and we need to achieve. And so it is important that Rahu is given that hunger, and because of that hunger you are able to move in the certain direction of your karma. However, why is it said that Rahu is given all these greed? The reason being is that Rahu's greed is the sum total of the greed of all the other planets put together. It is no use pointing a finger at only Rahu, because Rahu is not hunger by itself. Rahu is the hunger of all the planets coming together, and Rahu is just summarizing or summing up all the energies and controlling those energies or manifesting those energies. Now, why is it so? If you are comparing Rahu and Ketu, you can compare them to a white and black color. White for Rahu and dark or black for Ketu. The reason being is that Ketu negates the relations, negates the results, negates the manifestations, negates the denotations of the house that it is placed in and the planet that it is placed with, which means you need to put in extra effort and huge effort, and you need to work very, very hard, relentlessly work hard and persevere before Ketu allows you to achieve in the areas of that house it is placed or of the planet with which it is placed. However, here you need to be able to move beyond yourself and give up for others and live a life for others in those areas and about the planet, and only then Ketu will reward, if at all Ketu is pleased with you. On the other hand, Rahu is the focus of area that you need to achieve for yourself rather than for others. But why this hunger? If Ketu is the black color which absorbs everything and doesn't reflect anything, and that's why it doesn't allow you the results of a certain house, Rahu on the other hand is like the white color which reflects back everything. So when you go to a cinema hall, the screen in front of you is white. The reason being is that if it was a black screen, then the projector, when it is projecting the colors or the movie onto the black screen will absorb most of the colors and very less will be visible to you, just like the Ketu effect. On the other hand, if it's the white screen, then it reflects back all the colors multifold, so that the projector, which is a small one and projecting the light or the moving movie onto the screen, the colors are reflected back into your eyes and you're able to see. So Rahu is the reflection with expansion. However, Rahu reflects back everything, all colors, and hence you are able to see all the colors on the screen, all the characters and the story. So if Rahu is reflecting back all energies, so Rahu is also reflecting back all hunger. Now what does this hunger mean? Each planet has a hunger, a greed and an aspiration connected to the characteristic and the nature of the planet. For example, Sun's greed or attitude or Sun's aspiration is for leadership and for respect and for pride. So Sun, the leader, wants everybody to respect him, everybody to put him on a pedestal, everybody to look at him as a leader. Sometimes rather than commanding respect, a person may end up demanding respect because of Sun placed in a certain placement and with a certain planet. And so Sun's aspiration, Sun's hunger is for respect, authority, leadership. And so if it's pushed further, it can turn into arrogance and even dictatorship. So every planet has also a Rahu effect in itself, which means an expansion effect. No use blaming poor Rahu for it. It is the nature and attitude and attribute of the planet itself when you are not controlling the energies. Then what is the hunger for moon? The hunger for moon, the greed for moon, the aspiration for moon is to be happy, to be emotionally content, to be in a space where you are emotionally intelligent, you are in control of your senses, and also you are able to get the attention of others so that you emotionally feel good, you feel special. When moon is not able to get that attention, that succor, that nurturing, that support from others, the emotional support from others, the empathy from others, then the person feels bad, the person feels dejected, the person feels frustrated, the person even goes into a depression. And so it's important that you are able to control the moon's energies in your horoscope, and the Rahu part of the moon is within your grasp. Otherwise you are hankering for too much attention, too much support from others, depending too much on others for your emotional nourishment and your emotional balance and your emotional well-being. And so you push beyond those boundaries and you ask more than others can give, and then the emotional upheaval happens. Then what is the hunger for Mercury? The hunger for Mercury, the planet of analysis, is for data, for information. As much information as you can give to Mercury, the more the merrier, because with more information, the more data you have, the more educated choices you can make, the more educated decisions that you can make, because of Mercury getting what it aspires for, what it greeds for. Mercury also greeds for, hungers for perfection, and hence a person with a very strong Mercury can become very, very analytical about others, pinpoint fault in others, want others to be correct in certain ways, will always be telling people what to do, what not to do, and finding fault and trying to correct them all the time, and trying to be very, very analytical. And so having the data, having communication, being informed is what is the Mercury's hunger. If it's pushed beyond a certain point, then the person can become too complaining, too analytical, always finding fault with everybody else, never taking responsibility for what the person may be doing wrong or wrong decision making, blaming others for wrong decisions made, blaming others for things going wrong, blaming others for relationships going wrong also. And so then the Rahu part of Mercury, or the hunger part of the more greed part of Mercury, kicks in, and hence it's important you control the hunger and the greed of Mercury, to complain, to be over analytical, to want more information and want correctness from others, want perfection from others. What is the hunger and greed of Venus? The hunger and greed of Venus is, on one hand, material benefits, luxuries, the good life, the artistic life, and all good things in life is what Venus aspires for. And Venus also aspires for the relationships. Venus wants attention of others, Venus wants others to fancy you, Venus wants others to want you, to need you, and to want to be close to you. And so Venus wants intimacy, Venus wants love, Venus wants attention, Venus wants pampering, Venus also wants all the good things in life. And Venus wants strong, supportive relationships, stable relationships also. But Venus wants a lot of good relations. Venus wants the moon. So the hunger when Venus is very, very strong can be not only that you may attract those benefits, you may attract the good life also, but there is never a satiation of that hunger. The hunger keeps on growing. You have a big car, you want a bigger car. You have a big house, you want a bigger house. You have a charter plane, you want an own plane that you want. So the more you want, and you get sucked up into this materialistic approach. You get sucked up because you have easy access to people, to intimacy, so you want more, and then you can't be content with one person or one relationship, and then you may push the boundaries where you may even look outside of a stable relationship for more exhilaration, more intimacy, more excitement, and that's where things can go wrong. And so the excess of Venus energies can also put you in danger. Excess of greed for Venus related materialistic and relationship oriented issues can also bring you challenges. Then what is the challenge for you which comes from Mars? The challenge which comes from Mars is the goal orientation, the hunger to achieve at any cost, to rush into dangers and not caring about who it is that you are winning over. Winning, even at the cost of relationship, winning at the cost of in the long term stable friendships, winning even at the cost of putting your team members down, winning even at the cost of somebody losing their own livelihood, somebody losing their respect. So when you have a strong Mars and you have overgreed for Mars related attributes, then you don't care for anything. You run roughshod over everything and anything, whether it's relationship, whether it's friendship, whether it is team, whether it's project, whether it is supervisors, superiors, whoever it is. At the cost of winning, you are ready to sacrifice everything. So the goal orientation, the sense of achievement and achievement at any cost, is the hunger, the greed, the aspiration for Mars. Mars wants blood. Mars is ready to shed blood also to get what it wants. So with a very, very strong Mars, one of the most malefic planets, if your hunger and greed grows beyond a certain point, then you can be very, very aggressive. You can become somebody who's too violent, too abusive, and you may repel people rather than attract people towards you. And that is the hunger and greed and aspiration of a very, very aggressive Mars. Now, what is the hunger and greed for Jupiter? The hunger and greed for Jupiter is knowledge, is experiences, and also expansion of whatever Jupiter is placed in the house or whichever planet it is placed with. Jupiter expands those areas. Jupiter expands the attitude for that. Jupiter expands the yearning and the learning for it. And Jupiter also wants to learn with experience and also earn through those experiences. And hence Jupiter also wants to give prosperity and attract prosperity. So with Jupiter, sometimes when it becomes over strong in the sense of its hunger, then its need for knowledge is so high that the person may become too yearning for knowledge, too yearning for wisdom, and may want to be known as the guru. And if somebody is not respecting you, it goes to the head. Too much of knowledge goes to your head, and then you start looking at yourself as superior to everybody else. A superiority complex comes in, that you know more than anybody else, you know more than your managers, you know more than your teachers, you know more than your spouse, you know more than your friends, you know more than your siblings, you know more than your parents, you know more than your gurus. And so the challenge and the hunger for yearning and for wisdom and to be taken as a guru, to be acknowledged as a guru, becomes the downfall also of Jupiter when Jupiter crosses the boundary of remaining within the boundaries of wisdom rather than crossing that and becoming a yearning guru who wants everybody else to put him on a pedestal and worship him as a guru. So that's become the challenge for Jupiter, where yearning for knowledge, yearning for that acceptability as a guru, yearning to wanting to give your knowledge to everybody else or not wanting to listen to others. And so a person may cross the boundaries of remaining a student and becomes a teacher and stops learning. That becomes his downfall. Now, what is the hunger for Saturn? The hunger for Saturn is in some way the least of the hungers, the materialistic hungers. But Saturn wants to be in a space where you are stable, and Saturn wants that the bare minimum that the person deserves is given to the person. The person is ready to wait for years also and to be content initially, and over a period of time wanting to work layer by layer, structure by structure, and then get the position in life. And Saturn is ready to sacrifice. Saturn is ready to be structured. Saturn is ready to be disciplined. Saturn is ready also to sacrifice even own personal time at the cost of your own private life, so that you achieve and you attain over a period of time. May not be as materialistic as a Venus, may not be as wanting to be put on a pedestal as a guru, as Jupiter, or as a leader as Sun want to be. However, stability is the biggest yearning of Saturn, and hence sometimes the problem happens is a person becomes too content with where he or she is, and they don't want to sacrifice the stability. And hence many times the people who are right at the below of the spectrum, sometimes they are so happy and content, and they don't want to rock the boat, that they don't want to push hard to get ahead in life. And hence a security guard many times, sad as it is, remains a security guard all his life. A driver may remain a driver all his life, at least most of them. Somebody who's who is a maid, who comes and helps us in our homes, especially in the Indian subcontinent, that person may remain that maid all his or her life. And so these are challenges which the Saturn person may want. So the hunger and greed is so much for stability that you are too content with where you are, and you don't want to push ahead, and that becomes the challenge for Saturn, and that becomes the biggest downfall also for the person. So each of the planets, as we saw, has their own greed, has their own aspirations, has their own hunger for certain results. Now, how does all the hunger become sum total of Rahu? Because Rahu is the karma for this life, and so Rahu is being given the responsibility of being able to control these karmas of others, so that you can do your karma. If Rahu is not being given the energy to be able to control the hunger and aspiration of others, then you will be running helter-skelter all your life and in too many directions. And hence we have been given the energy of Rahu to be able to control all these energies, and hence many shlokas say Rahu is the strongest of all the planets put together. And so poor Rahu is given this abhishap, or given this reputation that Rahu adds to the greed, Rahu adds to the hunger, and Rahu leads us astray. It is not Rahu which leads us astray, it is us who is not able to understand the energies of Rahu, and we are led astray by some other planet. If the Sun leads us astray in yearning for leadership, yearning for power, authority, Venus may lead us astray wanting too much materialism, chasing the intimacy, chasing the opposite gender. Moon may lead us astray running behind mental satisfaction, empathy, nourishment from others, pampering from others, and attention from others. And Mars may lead us astray by pushing us relentlessly, blindly towards certain goals in life. Sometimes those goals also may not be as serving to a karma as we feel we should be. So all these planets drag us in different areas, and Rahu is given the energy so that you can focus on the karma. But what do? All the Rahu energy that we have, we spend in some area of our life. Generally most of it is materialistic, and we move in that direction. So how do we control the energies of Rahu and all the sum total of hunger that Rahu is given? It's easy if you start focusing on the self correction and doing for others. With Ketu you have no choice. Ketu will be absorbing all the results of the house and the planet that it is placed with. With Rahu you are given a choice and not to be led astray, and that's why we are being given two hands. One hand to earn for ourselves, and the other hand to give, to share. Two eyes, one eye to look at what we need, what our aspirations are, what goals we need to chase, and the other eye to look at other people's needs. We have been given two minds, the right mind and the left mind, or the right brain and the left brain. One brain is to think for ourselves, aspire for self, and the other is to look for others. We have been given two legs, one leg to move in the direction of our goals and the other leg also to move in the direction where we can serve others. But we have been given one heart, and that one heart generally we spend all wishing for ourselves and being getting too involved in the quagmire of our own emotion, own aspiration, own greed, and being heartless where concerning others. And hence many times Rahu brings that punishment because we are not able to control the greed and the hunger that we have towards an area, that all the hunger and greed is not for us. That hunger and greed is for not only you but for your family, for your society, for your neighborhood and the world at large. So your hunger should be to do for yourself, to do for family, to do for friends, to do for extended family, to do for society and to do for world at large. But what do? We collect all that hunger and accumulate all the hunger for our own material needs, and hence we are not able to control it, and then we end up blaming Rahu Dasha, Rahu transit, Rahu's placement in a certain house and with a certain planet to shake up the area of that house. Rahu's shake up is a reminder for us. Rahu's transit is a reminder for us. Rahu's getting into a dosha is a reminder for us where we need to focus, and that we also need to contribute to others. We need to walk in the direction of others. We need to look in the direction what we can do for others. We need to do effort in the direction of how we can serve others, and we need to also share the space of heart, not only for us and for others also, rather than being heartless. And so the sum total of all hunger and all the greed that Rahu tries to control, tries to absorb it, is for our own good. But it is for us to utilize the hunger and greed for beyond ourselves, so that that energy, the karma that we are doing, becomes more focused, becomes more caring, becomes more serving, both for us and for others. So friends, look at your own life. How much have you allowed the hunger and the greed or different planets to contribute to the bad reputation of Rahu, and whether you have been led astray in a certain area without looking at what your karma should be, where you need to move and where you need to be able to do more for others. And at least now start looking at whatever you may have done in the past, start looking at beyond yourself and start looking at where you can contribute and do for others also, that the hunger of Rahu, that the accumulated hunger of all the planets that Rahu has given to you, can be put to better use. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me at the link given below. Until some other time with some other video, this is your friend Astrologer and Guide Irfan signing off.